a struggling waitress, a homeless veteran, and one small act of kindness that would change both their lives forever. What Emma didn't know, someone powerful was watching, and what happened next would prove that no good deed ever goes unseen or unpunished. The rain came down in sheets that Thursday night, turning the neon open sign of Rosie's Diner into a watery smear of pink light. Inside, 23-year-old Emma Wilson balanced three plates along her left arm while refilling coffee cups with her right, her sneakers sticking slightly to the worn linoleum with every hurried step. The diner smelled of grease and lemon cleaner, of bacon cooked too long, and the faint metallic tang of the ancient milkshake machine behind the counter. "Order up for table 7, called Marty from the kitchen, his voice barely audible over the hiss of the grill. "2 turkey clubs, 1 hold the mayo." Emma nodded, tucking a loose strand of chestnut hair behind her ear. Her feet ached from the 12-hour double shift, but she couldn't complain. Not when this job was paying for her nursing school textbooks. Not when Grandma Ruth needed those expensive heart medications. She checked her watch, 11:47 p.m. Just 13 minutes until closing. As she delivered the sandwiches to the elderly couple in the corner booth, the man peered at her name tag. "Emma, dear, you've been running ragged all night. When do you get to rest?" She smiled, the expression automatic after years of waitressing. "Right after I get you folks some more sweet tea." The truth was, her break would consist of a 45-minute bus ride to the night shift at St. Mary's Hospital, where she worked as a nursing aide. Sleep happened in between. The last customers left at 12:06 a.m. While Joe, the night cook, wiped down the grill, Emma began her closing routine, wiping tables, rolling silverware, and most importantly, carefully packing the day's leftovers into aluminum foil parcels. The diner's policy was to throw out unsold food, but Emma had been discreetly redistributing it for months. "Those for the shelter again?" Joe asked, not looking up from his mopping. Emma froze, her hands hovering over the chicken pot pie. "Ah, yes, if that's okay." Joe snorted. "Did I say anything? Just don't let health department catch you." He tossed her an extra loaf of sourdough. "This'll go stale by morning anyway." Outside, the rain had eased to a drizzle. Emma tucked the food parcels into her oversized backpack, the weight familiar against her shoulders. She was about to head toward the bus stop when movement under the awning of the abandoned hardware store caught her. A figure sat hunched against the brick wall, knees drawn to his chest. The dim streetlight glinted off something metallic on his jacket, military insignia. Emma adjusted her course without conscious thought. "Hey there," she called softly, stopping a respectful distance away. "You okay?" The young man, he couldn't have been older than 25, looked up with eyes that seemed decades older than the rest of his face. His dark hair was plastered to his forehead, his camouflage jacket soaked through. A handwritten sign rested against his knee. "Veteran. Just hungry." Emma knelt, ignoring the damp concrete seeping through her jeans. "I'm Emma. What's your name?" "Jake," he said after a pause. His voice was rough, like he hadn't used it in days. "Ma'am." She smiled at the formality. "Well, Jake, I've got some food here that's going to waste." She unzipped her backpack. "Turkey or chicken?" Jake's hands trembled slightly as he accepted the foil-wrapped meal. You didn't have to stop." "I know." Emma rummaged further, producing a clean diner napkin and plastic utensils. "You served our country. Least I can do is make sure you eat with proper silverware." A ghost of a smile touched Jake's lips as he unfolded the napkin across his lap with military precision. Watching him, Emma felt a familiar ache, the same one she got when changing Grandma Ruth's oxygen tank or holding a patient's hand during blood draws. The helplessness of wanting to do more when you could barely take care of yourself. "Wait here," she said suddenly. Before Jake could respond, Emma dashed back across the street to the diner's entrance where Joe kept the lost and found umbrella bucket. She grabbed the sturdiest looking one, black with a wooden handle, and returned breathlessly. "Take this," she said, pressing it into Jake's free hand. "And listen, Rosie's opens at 6 a.m. You come by then, ask for Joe. Tell him Emma said you're the new dishwasher." Jake's eyes widened. "I can't." "Yes, you can," Emma said firmly. "It's minimum wage, but you get one free meal per shift. And Joe won't ask questions." She hesitated, then unwound the scarf from around her neck, the one Grandma Ruth had knitted last Christmas. "Here, this'll keep you warmer than that wet jacket." Jake reached for the scarf with something like reverence, his fingers brushing the slightly unraveled edge where Emma had caught it on a door handle last winter. "Why are you doing this?" Emma stood, shouldering her now lighter backpack. "Because everyone deserves to be seen, Jake, even in the rain." She turned toward the bus stop, unaware of the sleek black town car that had been idling across the street for the past 15 minutes. Inside, billionaire tech mogul Daniel Kingsley lowered his binoculars, his breath fogging the window glass. He'd been driving aimlessly after another fruitless board meeting, haunted by memories of his own nights spent hungry before his first startup took off. The scene he'd just witnessed, the easy kindness, the scarf sacrifice, stirred something long buried. "Follow her," he told his driver quietly. The next morning, Emma arrived for her opening shift to find Joe scowling at a newspaper. "Some rich bastard left you a present," he grunted, nodding toward an envelope on the counter. Emma's name was written in elegant script across the front. Inside, she found a cashier's check for $50,000 and a single line of text, "For the woman who serves second chances with every meal." Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the check. Who would? How did they? The bell above the door jingled. Emma looked up to see Jake standing awkwardly in the entrance, his hair still damp but combed, the scarf neatly folded over his arm. Behind him, reflected in the diner's windows, a black town car pulled slowly away from the curb. The check burned a hole in Emma's apron pocket all morning. Every time she reached for her order pad, her fingers brushed against the envelope, sending a fresh jolt of disbelief through her. $50,000. More money than she'd earned in 2 years of double shifts. Enough to cover Grandma Ruth's medications. Enough to finally fix that leak in their apartment ceiling. "Order up. Western omelet, side of rye." Marty called from the kitchen, snapping Emma back to reality. She delivered the plate to Jake, who sat stiffly at the counter in a clean but ill-fitting button-down shirt, courtesy of Joe's emergency interview clothes stash. "You came," Emma said, sliding into the seat beside him. Jake stared at his fork like it was a foreign object. "Didn't think I would?" Emma hesitated. The shadows under his eyes looked darker in the morning light. "Honestly, I wasn't sure." They sat in silence as Jake methodically cut his omelet into perfect squares. Emma noticed how his hands trembled slightly, how he kept glancing at the door like expecting someone to burst through. "First day jitters?" she asked gently. Jake's knife scraped the plate. "Something like that." Before Emma could press further, the diner door flew open with a bang. A woman in a tailored pantsuit marched in, her designer heels clicking against the linoleum. Every head turned as she zeroed in on Emma. "Emma Wilson." The woman's voice carried across the suddenly silent diner. Emma's stomach dropped. Had she done something wrong? Was the check fake? A scam? Then the woman smiled and extended a manicured hand. "I'm Claire Whitmore, executive assistant to Daniel Kingsley. Mr. Kingsley would like to meet you." The name meant nothing to Emma, but Joe choked on his coffee behind the counter. "As in Kingsley Tech? The billionaire?" Claire's smile widened. "The very one. He's waiting outside." Through the diner's smudged windows, Emma saw the same black town car from last night idling at the curb. Her pulse pounded in her ears as Claire guided her outside, Jake watching with narrowed eyes from his stool. The car door opened to reveal a man in his late 40s with salt and pepper hair and sharp blue eyes. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Emma's car, but his smile was unexpectedly warm. "Emma," he said, shifting to make room. "I owe you an explanation." The leather seats smelled like expensive cologne and coffee as Emma slid in, her waitress uniform suddenly feeling shabby. Daniel Kingsley, because apparently that was his name, studied her with an intensity that made her fidget. "That check isn't a loan or a handout," he said without preamble. "It's an investment." Emma's fingers tightened around the envelope. "In what?" "In you." Daniel pulled out a tablet and tapped the screen. A news article appeared, a photo of Emma serving soup at the homeless shelter last winter. "Do you know how rare true selflessness is? I've had teams of analysts tracking charitable giving patterns for years. What you did last night." He zoomed in on security footage of her giving Jake the scarf. "That wasn't performative. That was instinct." Emma's face heated. "You were spying on me?" "Observing," Daniel corrected. "I want to fund your nursing school tuition. All of it. Plus a living stipend." The numbers spun in Emma's head. 4 years of tuition. Books. Clinical fees. Why? Daniel's expression darkened momentarily. "Because 20 years ago, I was Jake." He nodded toward the diner, where Jake now stood silhouetted in the doorway. "Homeless after my military discharge. A waitress at a Chicago diner gave me her last $20 and a pair of gloves. That kindness kept me alive long enough to code my first app." Emma's throat tightened. "So this is payback." "A lifeline," Daniel corrected. "With one condition." "Of course." Emma straightened. "There was always a catch. You have dinner with me tonight. 7 o'clock. Claire will send a car." Before Emma could respond, shouting erupted from the diner. She turned to see Jake grappling with a broad-shouldered man in a security uniform, the same man who'd been lurking near the bus stop last night. "Hey!" Emma threw open the car door. "Stop!" The security man froze, his grip tightening on Jake's arm. "This doesn't concern you, miss. Military police business." Jake's face went pale. "Emma, don't." Daniel was suddenly beside her, his voice low and dangerous. "Release him, Lieutenant." The MP's eyes widened in recognition. "Mr. Kingsley?" "I didn't realize now." The moment Jake was free, Emma rushed to his side. His breathing came in ragged gasps, his pupils dilated. She recognized the signs of a PTSD episode from her nursing courses. "It's okay," she murmured, guiding him to sit on the curb. "Breathe with me. In, out." Over Jake's shoulder, Emma saw Daniel hand the MP a business card. Whatever he said made the man's face go ashen before he hurried away. When Daniel crouched beside them, Jake flinched. "You shouldn't have done that, sir." I know exactly what they'll do," Daniel said grimly. He met Emma's eyes. "Still want that dinner?" "Because your friend here has a story you need to hear." Inside the diner, Joe watched through the window, his phone pressed to his ear. "Yeah, she took the bait," he muttered. "Kingsley's involved now. This just got complicated." The limousine ride to Daniel Kingsley's penthouse was the most surreal experience of Emma's life. Jake sat rigid beside her, his combat boots leaving damp prints on the immaculate leather seats. Across from them, Daniel scrolled through security feeds on his phone, his jaw tight. "You should have told me they were still after you," Daniel said without looking up. Jake's fingers dug into his knees. "Didn't think a billionaire would care about some broken medic." Emma's head snapped toward him. "Medic? I thought you were infantry." The elevator ride to the penthouse was worse. Glass walls revealed the city sparkling below, but Jake stared straight ahead, sweat beading on his forehead. Emma recognized the signs of a panic attack, the shallow breathing, the dilated pupils, and instinctively reached for his hand. His grip was crushing. Daniel's penthouse looked like a museum, all white marble and abstract art. A uniformed maid served tea in china so thin Emma could see through it. "Start from the beginning," Daniel said, locking the door with a retinal scan. Jake's voice was hollow. 2 years ago, my unit was testing Kingsley Tech's new battlefield drones in Kandahar. He pulled a dog tag from under his shirt, not his own. Private Rodriguez took shrapnel to the femoral artery. The medical drone malfunctioned. It injected him with potassium chloride instead of painkillers. Emma gasped. Potassium chloride was used in lethal injections. I reported it, Jake continued. Next thing I know, I'm being discharged for mental instability. My apartment got raided. Friends stopped returning calls. His eyes met Daniel's. You really didn't know? Daniel's teacup shattered on the floor. Those drones were programmed for triage only. He stormed to a wall safe, keying in a code. I licensed the tech to MedUnited under strict ethical guidelines. Emma watched them volley terms like firewalls and backdoor protocols, her stomach churning. This wasn't just about kindness anymore. People had died. A chime sounded. Daniel checked his security monitor and went pale. They're here. The screen showed black SUVs surrounding the building. Military police can't just raid a civilian residence, Emma said. These aren't MPs. Daniel shoved a flash drive into Jake's hand. Footage of the drone incident. Get to my safe house in the Catskills. He pressed another into Emma's palm. Financial records proving MedUnited altered my tech. Jake grabbed Daniel's arm. You're coming with us. Daniel smiled sadly. Someone needs to hold them off. He ushered them toward a service elevator. Emma? That check wasn't just for school. It's enough to disappear. The elevator doors closed on Daniel, squaring his shoulders, adjusting his tie like heading into a board meeting. The safe house was a log cabin straight out of a movie, complete with a stocked pantry and generator. For 3 days, they waited, jumping at every creak of timber. You know they'll find us, Jake said on the 4th morning, cleaning his service pistol at the kitchen table. Emma stirred powdered eggs. We have to go public. And end up like Daniel. Jake's laugh was bitter. CNN had reported the billionaire's sudden hospitalization yesterday. Emma pulled up a news alert. Look. The screen showed Senator Rachel Cho holding up a flash drive at a press conference. These documents prove MedUnited weaponized medical drones, resulting in at least 12 wrongful deaths. Jake's hand shook. That's my CO's wife. The video cut to security footage of Emma serving Jake at the diner, then Daniel handing them the drives. A caption read, Whistleblowers sought for testimony. Emma's phone buzzed, an unknown number. A text, check porch. They found a shoebox containing 2 first-class tickets to D.C., burner phones, and a note. Sometimes the best way to disappear is into the spotlight. A friend, beneath it lay Joe's diner name tag. The Senate hearing made international news. Emma testified about the diner encounter. Jake demonstrated the drone's lethal programming. When MedUnited's CEO claimed ignorance, Senator Cho played a recording of Joe, actually an undercover investigator, being offered hush money. Afterward, as cameras flashed, Emma noticed a familiar black town car idling down the street. The window lowered just enough to reveal Daniel's profile, his face bruised but smiling. 1 year later, Emma's place opened where Rosie's diner once stood. The menu had no prices, just suggested donations. Jake ran the veteran outreach program. Grandma Ruth held court at the best booth, doling out advice with the pie dot on opening night. Emma found an envelope taped to the back door. Inside was a photo of her handing Jake the scarf, now framed in silver, and a new check, this time for $1 million. The note read, Some debts are meant to be repaid forward. Always keep a booth open for old friends. When Emma looked up, the black town car was already merging into traffic, its taillights winking like fireflies in the dusk. This story reminds us that kindness is never wasted. Even the smallest act of compassion can ripple outward in ways we never expect. But true change happens when we have the courage to stand up for what's right, just like Emma and Jake did. If this story moved you, don't forget to like and subscribe to Comeback Tales for more real-life stories of hope, second chances, and ordinary people who changed lives. Who knows? The next story might just inspire you to create your own ripple effect. See you in the next one.